Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko number 146A. This is a milled finish aluminum water return interlocking threshold. The 146 is representative of the fact that this is exactly what that is, a water return interlocking threshold. We'll discuss that in a moment. The A in the part number means that it is in the mill aluminum finish. This is going to be available in dark bronze, gold, satin nickel, common finishes like that. Okay. Now, what is it used for? Well, this threshold, you're going to see this in residential applications. You're going to see this on, of course, exterior doors, doors that are certainly going to be exposed to the exterior, where there is certainly going to be, rain, exterior elements that will come into play. And this threshold, interlocking thresholds, especially water return ones, are very well applied to the application where you expect to have water is what these are for. Now, let's go over it. First of all, underneath here, you might notice that piece of material. I'm going to remove that. This is called a hook strip. Sometimes it's called a J strip. If you use your imagination, you can see where it gets that name. It is really just a piece of wipe coat galvanized steel, and this item is going to be used to create the interlocking part of the part number. So how that works is the following. The hook strip is applied to the bottom of the door. It's nailed to the bottom of the door in this sort of fashion, so that when the door closes, that lip of the hook engages with the threshold, just like this. That makes an incredibly positive seal at the bottom of the door. Interlocking thresholds are known to be extremely long-lasting, very effective because of that mechanical seal. Long-lasting because you're dealing with just, metal and not something that is going to fatigue much earlier or much sooner like vinyl or neoprene or silicone. So you've got a very positive mechanical seal at the bottom of the door, okay? And that makes this a very elegant sort of solution, a very smart sort of solution to keeping the transmission of water. So where you're going to see this threshold most effectively is in those applications. Side doors of homes, front doors of homes, rear doors of homes. But that's not all that this does with its positive mechanical. Okay, so in addition to that description where we have interlock, we have water return. Now, water return is another very smart feature of this threshold. Any water that were to actually intrude into the inside space of the door, this trough here is specifically prepped with that hole that's at the tip of my finger. See that there's a hole there. I'm going to turn the threshold over. You can see that hole there where it comes out of the trough. Any water that gets into there is going to be returned out through the notch that's right in the front of the threshold. And on this threshold there are going to be two holes for the water return and then two notches in the face for that water to exit out. Very smart technology. Okay. The only other thing that you could add to this would be the water pan. The water pan is an option that you are to select when ordering the threshold. That would give you a piece of sheet metal underneath here, aluminum sheet metal, so that any water that did get in would rest on top of the aluminum sheet metal water pan before it exits out and not pool and collect on top of your sill, whatever it might be. Okay? Very smart threshold. Now, dimensionally, let's go over it. There is an image below this video showing everything important dimensionally about the threshold. You can see from that image that it's 4-inch wide, which is fairly common for residential thresholds. 3 7/8, 4 1/4, 4 1/2. 1 1/4 high height is the height for this threshold. That is on the tall side of what interlocking thresholds will handle in terms of the height. They are generally this size or smaller, 7/8, in that range. Okay, whatever the undercut that you're working with will determine the threshold. Or if you're doing a brand new installation, I would personally opt for a shorter model from Pemko rather than the 1.25 inch, because the undercut that you'll need on the door will be, 1 3/8, something in that range. You'll have to get that J-hook attached to the bottom of the door and nailed on, and leave yourself room to still be able to close the door. So something about 1 3/8 would be appropriate. Now, we've talked about how that's nailed on a couple of times. You may have seen a little package slide out of there. Those are the nails, zinc brad nails, that are going to be used to attach this to the bottom of your door. And you can have a square edge door. You can have where you actually route the bottom of the door with a notch, leave a portion of the face of the threshold together so that it looks like this, and then your J-hook will look like this. Okay, some people will do that as well. That door swings out, gives you a bit more of an illusion of having a little longer door. You have to judge that based on where you're going to come down to the top of your trough, but that would give you a little more room there. Okay. Now, let me give you some dimensions on the J-hook. And by the way, these thresholds are available in not only the aluminum-based material, but of course solid architectural bronze, mill finish, satin brass, polished brass, oil rubbed bronze, and in that case you would be dealing with a solid bronze version of this J-hook as well. Now, actually, since we're talking about hooks, that's a J. We talked about that. You can see where they get that name. You can also get these hooks as an L. Now, why someone might want the L shape might be just preference, but you could have that L shape nailed to the face of your door so that it would run down the face of the door and interlock with the lip of the threshold here. So that L would reside in this area here. That's another option. That can be picked up separately. The J-hook is 99.9% of the time. Inch width, overall height about 1/4 inch. Okay. Now, these thresholds are available in several different lengths on the website. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces and indicate in the comment field what length you'd like for us to cut the material back to. The reasoning is if you had to take this 36-inch piece and cut it down to, say, 30-inch, you would eliminate that first countersink that's there. Okay? You'd be stuck probably drilling another countersink. The next hole is all the way here in the center as well. Okay? So if you order a custom length, we'll not only locate that first countersink at the proper distance from the edge, but the proper center to center as well. Not too big of a deal drilling those countersinks, but if you order at length, you'll save yourself the trouble of doing it. Screws are included, speaking of those countersinks, and because this is an 1.25 inch tall threshold, those screws are probably every bit of 2.5 inch long. Measuring that right now. Indeed, they are 2.5 inch long. Okay. The name Pemko is synonymous with all things weather stripping related, not only those items that are generally residential like this, but commercial as well. And they're going to be used, commercial as well. Pemko is going to have thresholds, perimeter gasketing, door sweeps. Of course, material that is aluminum based like this, architectural bronze like I mentioned earlier, stainless steel as well. If you have any questions on the Pemko 146A mill finish aluminum water return interlocking threshold or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. One last note, I would fully recommend selecting the aluminum water pan. It is all but insignificant in terms of the overall cost of the threshold, something that you could ultimately decide to discard should you not need it. You're going through all the effort of getting such a smart water protection sort of equipped threshold. That aluminum water pan is really just, as far as I'm concerned, something you'd want to have at least the option of installing. Any questions on this or any other Pemko item, please feel free to reach out to us.